Hi, I'm Mayor Jim Tulley of Titusville, and I'm standing here with Ms. Betty Smith and Elizabeth King from the Committee for Community Response to Domestic Violence. And as you may or may not know, October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so we're here to recognize that. And Elizabeth, if you could maybe tell us a little bit about your organization and why what you're doing for domestic violence is so important.
Well, this is a public awareness announcement, and we'd just like to go over some basics about domestic violence. It doesn't look the same in every relationship because every relationship is different. However, one thing most abusive relationships have in common is that the abusive partner behaves in coercive ways to gain power and control over their partners. Watch out for these behaviors. They're red flags. Call a hotline to talk about what's going on. Things such as embarrassing or putting you down, looking at you or acting in ways that scare you, controlling who you see, where you go, what you do, keeping you or discouraging you from seeing your friends or families, taking your money, refusing to give you money, telling you you're a bad parent, threatening to harm or take away your children, blaming you for the abuse or acting like it's not really happening, intimidating you, shoving, slapping, choking, hitting, threatening to hurt or kill you. Any of these things, they're all red flags. If you're concerned about some of these things happening, call a hotline number. Emergency shelter, legal advocacy, support groups, counseling, and other services are available. If you're not ready to seek help yet, please make a safety plan for the next time you're in danger. Think about who you will call, a safe place you can go, and safety for your children. Pack and hide a small bag with some money and important papers like birth certificates and social security cards, phone numbers, medication, and extra keys.
The Florida Domestic Violence Hotline numbers are 800-500-1119. National Domestic Violence Hotline, 800-799-7233. North Brevard Domestic Hotline, 607-6809. Salvation Army Domestic Hotline, 631-2764. Rape Hotline, 784-4357. Florida Department of Children and Families Abuse Hotline, 800-962-2873. And lastly is 211 Helpline.
So with that in mind, this is an official proclamation of the City of Titusville. Whereas home should be a place of warmth, unconditional love, tranquility, and security, and for most of us, home and family can indeed be counted among our greatest blessings. Tragically, for many Americans, these are blessings that are tarnished by violence and fear. And whereas domestic violence is a serious crime, and the problems of domestic violence are not confined to any group or groups of people, but cut across all economic, racial, and social classes. And whereas in our country, domestic violence is widespread and affects over 4 million Americans, and whereas young children and the elderly also are counted among the victims, and sadly, emotional scars are often permanent, and whereas a coalition of law enforcement officials, those involved with shelters and hotline services, healthcare providers, the clergy, and other concerned citizens are helping in the effort to end domestic violence, and whereas we must recognize the compassion and dedication of these volunteers and professionals and applaud their efforts to increase public understanding of this important problem. Now, therefore, I, James Tulley, by the authority vested in me as mayor, in recognition of the important work done by domestic violence programs, do hereby proclaim the month of October to be National Domestic Violence Awareness Month and urge all citizens to work together to eliminate domestic violence from our community by improving victim safety and holding perpetrators of domestic abuse accountable for their actions against individual victims and our society as a whole. Signed, sealed by Mayor James Tulley, this date, October 2nd, 2014. So Elizabeth, Betty, thank you so much for what you and your organization do, and we all hope that we will rid this community and this nation of domestic violence in the very near future. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.